will return to the open mic portion of the program, and we'll fit as many people as we can. But the first three will be Brittney McDonald, Justin Peterson, and Jane Smellie. Okay.
And Brittney is on the broad side, so pick one up. They're back there against the wall, and you may have one for free.
I'm cheap, guys.
She's cheap, I'm cheap. We give away our work. Enjoy it.
Perfect. That last name was Jace Smellie, actually, not
Oh,
Jace.
sorry.
I just have really bad handwriting. He asked me to sign him up. I'm sorry, Jace.
And Jace is on there too, right? Jace is on
Yes,
the broad
Jace
side.
is Jane. Jane is Jace. I brought three. Oh, this is new. 3 poems with me tonight. The first one I brought was kind of a tribute to Poetry at 3. It's a poem I worked with Shannon Ballum on about 1.5 years ago. It's titled October Bloomer. And it's about flowers that want their petals touched, which I thought was funny. But I came too late. The time the others curl to soften their falling, but my arms are still white. I survive adversity, brighten my color. I am now. Even though winter sinks into my stalk at night, wants its turn, the deepest darkness of my life. I came late and I won't be long. I am alive, the rains won't come again, a candle above fields of dying greens. Touch me. Run your thumb over my open nub, finger my swollen pollen spores, lift my open petals higher. Smell me. Breathe my yellow spark to your pink place. I am alive because I want. And my second poem. Again, these next 2 are poems I'm working on this semester, and I apologize to my classmates. I haven't incorporated too many edits yet, so it might be familiar. But Sunday service. I will be the utmost scholar of your collarbone, the enlightened hollow beneath your chin, pulsing with the weight of my kiss, my moan, lipstick ink slipping into paper skin. With open hands on chest, our palms will swallow bitter nipples like pink wine sips. Mountains of muscle raised to sing, hallowed be thy flexing man cheeks, bending feminine hips. We can find the arch of the arc that makes you man, mirrored in the lower liftings of my spine. The way our fingers bend to grab just one more pinch from our hand of time. The early morning bruises on your shin, my devout testimony of our citrus sin. And this last poem is titled Confession, which Ben had a confessional poem.
Yeah. Which one?
We'll see. My religion lies in bruising each other in bed. And that being said, I am using our citrus fucks to get my brain box unstuck from its bleeding redundant ruts. The constant needing of kneeling releases through my knees all the feeling of looking at you, looking at me, for this drowning owns no ceiling and I am ready. Confessing my profession was never lover but survivor. Snare of hot shower sprays and suffocations my predilections. Regretting 2 minutes on top will speed the drop from heaven to hell, but in the morning I see God's shape and bruises on breastbones and knees. So when you need to lay your hands, I plead, lay them on me. Baptize me in a bubble bath for 3 so someone can speak the testimony of the glory of God in you parting me. Thank you.
Justin.
Hi. I just brought one. I'll do real quick. This is called Ray B. West. Figured audience analysis would come. I'm pretty sure the B stands for bang, and not the getting down and dirty slang, but the pang, tick, tink, slam, and okay, I'm pretty sure that child is being murdered type of way. Try focusing on figuring the function of trochaic when the heater pipe bang hits like a drunken metronome. Poetry-hating phantoms roam ravenous for rooms to host orgies with elephants or whatever the fuck is thumping bass into Professor McCuskey's face. Because I have a paper due and I do not need him in a sour mood. I'd love to construe a poem to present though, but the construction workers is not in 4/4 tempo. Curious cacophony's constant creak and crack, of course it's contagious, listen to the women's lit class cough. Let's all concentrate on content, pretend that kid isn't crying, crunch, Peter Quint, you fiend. For the love of fiction, why can we not afford a phonically friendly environment? It's pathetic. Oh wait, that's right, we're not athletics.
Hard to follow that one. That's great. Yeah, so I've got a couple poems, and I think this is the first time I've been at Helicon West where I wasn't part of the slam team or the flash team or whatever, so I'm really happy to be here. And the featured poets were great. So my intro to fiction class I took from Shannon, and then my advanced, or not fiction, excuse me, poetry, and then my advanced poetry class I took from Ben. And so when I saw they were both reading tonight, I was like, I gotta be there, and I wanted to make sure I read a couple of poems. The first one is one I wrote while in Shannon's class, and then the second one I wrote while in Ben's class. And actually both these poems have recently been accepted for publication as well. And so,
Yay!
Really so this first one is called Only for a Moment. And when the purple clouds pour their poison out upon the world, I'll maybe stop and think of you. And you may stop and think of me. There's a decent chance you'll stop. You'll definitely stop and think of me. And then maybe you'll look the other way for a moment, but only for a moment. That's all I deserve. That's all I've earned. And who could be to blame? Refuge will be sought and shelter will need found. Here's not a time for hesitation or second thoughts. Though I agree the cosmic ironies bounding about will be worth a moment's notice. Perhaps 2 or 3 moments for me. But our hold on moments will be failing fast. So stop, please. You don't have time for this. My concentration has broken, and it's time you follow in my footsteps, but only for a second. Then fall back within your usual path. I know my path may seem inviting, and I know you'll find it so familiar. Like black leather couches at midnight and full moons in mountains, long nights with your family and my friends. You loved, or at least enjoyed, this path. But the whole time you walked it, you were longing for a more familiar way, the old way turned new. It haunted you that Thanksgiving when you realized, when you were deathly scared to recognize, you could happily follow either footsteps. Not just one path was designed for you. Yes, a truth too true for you to trust. And why rock this boat? Why derail the train where you traveled first class? But I know, the train had windows. I know your eyes. Pearly pupils drowned in captivating retina, fully functioning and fully aware, completely capable. But you only see what I reveal, and I can only see what you reveal. So I pray for happiness and I hope for peace. So yes, one brief moment will suffice. And then the second one is called Lines Written at 4:23 a.m. After a Dream. Sometimes I feel like a little boy tugging on the back of your t-shirt as we walk up a hill that keeps getting steeper. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep up. Other days it's like I'm there at the top waiting and wondering how much more of this frigid air I'll be able to bear on my own. So I'm done being right, and I'll be wrong 1,000,000 times over in your arms. I'll leave my house, room, and bed right now if you'll take me in, no questions asked. It's not funny anymore. The clarity of your face and the reality of your touch. I know I'm just dreaming, and I haven't really seen you or held you since almost 4 Tuesdays ago. But why are we wasting away when we could be walking up that hill? Thank you.
Thank you, that was great. Our next three readers will be Luke Lemmon, Ashley Barnett, and Alexis Oliver.
So, I have two poems today. The first one I wrote just a few weeks ago, and the other one I wrote earlier, or at the end of last summer. So the first one is Like a Rose. I once kept a rose pinned to a suit jacket for almost 6 months. By the time I had remembered it, it was black, wilted, dried up, dead. I fancied I could put it in an art museum with the title Forgotten Love still pinned to that jacket. Of course, I threw it away nearly 4 months later, and that rose, all wilted, was no more. I sometimes think back to that rose when memory and time permits, like when I saw a sunset being reflected in the clouds and the snow on the mountain. The softest hues of pink and red mixed with the velvet coat of the clouds reminded me of the rose, and like a rose, it wilted away. The sun took its colors, and the rose in the sky faded to deep purple and black, dead. That small moment of beauty, that brief rose in the sky, it turned to memory, lost to the night. I sometimes wonder if I am like a rose, plucked from my bush, slowly fading, slowly wilting, until I, too, like a rose, turn to black, dead. Will I be tossed and become but a memory, lost to the night? And the second one, on a completely different mood, is called The Food Court. There's one chocolate chip lying still on the floor, 6 sitting dead in the pantry, 3 eyewitnesses, 6 suspects caught, 4 persons seen fleeing the scene. A crime against culinary, the media called it, but the best are on the case. Top-notch investigators called in the Cannoli twins from up north. Tracked down all involved, they told the police. Let no toffees or truffles escape. To the scene of the crime they went next to test the 3 witnesses. I entered right after they're executed, but I saw them running out. Can you tell us what you saw? They were all eclairs, I declare. You gotta believe me, it was the baklava. We don't believe in racial profiling, ma'am, but we'll look into it. They're all just a bunch of fruitcakes, and fruitcakes protect each other. Where are the suspects? A praline policeman replied, they're down at the precinct. I'll take you there, and presently they arrived. A discarded muffin box on top of the counter was where they kept the suspects. The Cannoli twins entered quickly. The trail was growing cold. 2 adobos, 2 donuts, and 3 devil's food cakes were the suspects caught at the scene. It's a devil of a job. The dobos is a diplomat, protected. Let him go. We're down to 5. The donuts were pulled in to be questioned, a couple from the Netherlands. There's something fishy about these 2, and I'm not talking about the smell. You're immigrants, right? That's what your papers say. We're innocent, I swear. We'll help if we help, we'll get immunity, right? Interesting. What do you know? Look, we're fugitives running from England, but we know who did it. Help us, and we'll help you solve the case. We'll see what we can do. Tell us. Look, those chips saw something we weren't supposed to see. Maybe a dirty deal. At the wafer house, there's a Zabaglione. He knows all about it. And I gotta warn you, those fruitcakes are involved. Mob or mafia. Like a flash, the Cannoli twins were off to the wafer house. It was above the stove. Humid and stuffy, a hotbed of crime. You're under arrest, Zabaglione, for murder and conspiracy. Ah, but for once I was not involved in this crime. You got the wrong place. It's the Waffle House that you're looking for. Just then, an explosion. A Bombay running away from the burning car. Sorbets and sundaes shooting as they fled in a black buggy right towards the Waffle House. All units converge on the Waffle House, all units converge. And just like that, the case was solved, the murderers arrested. It was the biscotti and the fruitcakes who had made the deal. The chocolate chips were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. The Cannoli twins have done it again, the headlines exclaimed. Evildoers better beware, or get your just desserts. Those celebrated, the Cannoli twins left post-haste. They had no time to rest or stay or rest, as it was off to another case. For the wicked never stop, and neither do they.
So I never thought I'd get an adrenaline rush just like from poetry. So this is so exciting for me. So if I'm talking really fast, I promise I'm not nervous. I'm just super excited to be here. I just have one poem that I want to share with you, and it's actually the most recent poem that I've written for Michael Stouter's poetry class. And it's called, Can We Make a Quilt? I can't sew, but we could tape together our love notes, napkin doodles, faded photos, unpaid bills, piled on the kitchen table. You want to file our lives away in the square gray tin that coils like a cobra in our bedroom closet, ready to strike, to congeal even family blood. but I'd rather eat our leftover lasagna in the living room. I love Lucy blaring from TV and listen to the man downstairs scream louder than Ricky about his wife's new shoes. I don't think Dad ever swore at Mom like that, but she left him anyways, and now no one opens his Christmas presents because they think he broke up a marriage. My dear, let's make a quilt. Hide underneath the ink stains of fast food receipts and misaddressed envelopes and pretend that will never happen to us. Thank you.
Okay, my poem came out of Michael Sauter's poetry class too. Last week we went to the art museum and we were supposed to write a poem on work of art, and this is mine. It's after Emile James Wistrom's The Burning Bush. So it's addressed to the artist. Did your hand tremble when you painted the voice of God? Bush blossoming flames that lick the air like chapped lips, and cracking branches who clear their throat to speak? Did you paint barefoot? Soles pressed to tiled floors, head bowed to inhale smoke and wisdom? Did burning petals scald skin when you got too close? Uncontained fire falling about you, God's eternal secrets.
Thank you. And our final three readers will be Monica Robinson, Mary Ellen Greenwood, and Nate Hardy.
Okay, I haven't actually read any of my poetry in like forever, but this was one of the earliest poems I've written. Probably, I think I wrote it in like 1992. So I was about 12 years old when I wrote this. Paintbrush pencil. I pick up the paintbrush and dipping it in red, I draw fire. All over the sheet there's fire. Burning up the paper like anger burns a soul. Fiery red anger growing within myself. Burning every corner of the whiteness inside me. The pure white paper, now covered with anger and fear and hate, slowly turns to ashes and, like my soul, disappears. I pick up the pencil and, putting it to lined paper, I write fire. All over the sheet, I write fire. Burning up the paper like anger burns a soul. Fiery red anger growing within myself, I describe every corner of the darkness inside me. The smooth, clean paper, now covered in anger and fear and hate, slowly turns to ashes and, like my soul, disappears. And I have another one. I wrote this one probably, I can't even remember, but the premise of it was basically what one man would go through after fighting a war. I don't know anybody that's ever survived or been back from a war. I really haven't had that much experience, so this is just coming from my imagination. It's called I Drink the Blood of the Wounded Face. As I fly to the astral plane, he haunts my mind, he haunts my dream. There I see in that horrible place, I drink the blood of the wounded face. The war moves on, the body's gone, but there inside me the innocent I see. The children's cry for mother, the mother's cry for baby. I kept on shooting, I kept on killing. My guns silenced their fears, my guns stopped their tears. I lost my soul to the dead, the many I killed upon my head. I fear to fall asleep at night, the innocent and all their fright. Yet I still see that sweet place, all there to watch. I drink the blood of the wounded face.
Mine's not a poem, is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's a short piece, it's 5 minutes, so we'll just pretend it's a poem. This is a tribute to my favorite kindergartner, and her name is Ruby. And I call this Being Ruby. Red is my favorite color. It means power and owning a room with a dramatic entrance. Red is passion and emotion and life, which is most likely what drew me to the color in the first place. Painfully shy and unsure as a child, I could only dream of that confidence, keeping my eyes open for shades of red wherever they could be found. Stoplights, cars, jewelry, neon signs, fire extinguishers. The reddest of gems, a ruby, is one of 4 precious stones, keeping company with the diamond, emerald, and sapphire. Mentioned in the Bible, Its value is trumped only by virtuous women, who I imagine have much less fun than they let on, and also by wisdom, which I cannot contest. Wisdom is rare, but a ruby glimmers, flashes, demands your eye with the power of its red, the confidence of its hue. The night my daughter was born, she was breech. My father said, ask first. She's going to give you trouble. And no matter how long I waited or how I moved, she refused to turn, hiding up in my rib cage as labor progressed. The doctor said C-section, and a thick curtain was draped over my abdomen so that I wouldn't see him cutting into my flesh. Numb from the chest down, I could only feel pressure as he lifted my ribs, and I lost my breath, and he pulled hard to retrieve the girl who refused to come on her own. Her cries were loud, clear, confident, and angry. She was here. She was Ruby. The little girl comes into the room where I am working and sits next to me. What are you doing, Mom? Ruby asks. I'm reading things that my students wrote, I reply, not looking up. Oh, Mom, she says, I love you. I turn to face her, flattered by her words, I love, and then I see her hair. Large chunks in the back are missing, leaving a zigzag shape where some places are cut close to the skin while others haven't been touched at all. Her bangs are the length of a pencil eraser in some places, the length of my thumb in others. Her eyes are wide. What did you do to your hair? I keep a calm tone, as calm as I can. I wanted to be a hair lady, she replies. Oh, show me where you did this. She leads me into her bedroom where piles of light brown hair lie scattered on the gray carpet. I see the instrument of destruction, the kitchen shears she must have found in my utensil drawer. Ruby, you cannot cut your own hair. Now I can't be Rapunzel, Mom. And her eyes fill with tears. Well, hair grows. No more cutting, okay? She sits in my lap, her arms draped around my neck. I look like a boy, Mom, she says. No, you are my favorite girl. You are Ruby. The movie theater's vents blasted icy air, which meant we could hold off on melting for a couple of August hours. We did this often, finding a cheap matinee when the days were sweltering and too hot to exert anything more than sloth-like movement. I would find something we could watch together and then buy a popcorn and drink to share. The movie itself didn't matter. It was something to do to escape the heat. On this day, the Muppets were having some new adventure, but after Jim Henson died, I didn't care about the Muppets much. The voices that came from Kermit and Fozzie were wrong, and I just couldn't pretend. It was like finally learning about Santa and feeling let down, even though there was always something familiar about the handwriting on each To Mary Ellen from Santa tag. On the screen, there was a prison in Russia where poor Kermit had been thrown, a victim of mistaken identity. To my left, my son was captivated by the music and color, by the blend of felt and people and hijinks. Maybe it didn't matter that Kermit sounded like an impersonation of an impersonation, if John could believe. To my right sat my daughter, not wearing clothing. She was naked at the movies. I looked around, aiming for nonchalance and masking panic, making sure that none of the other moviegoers had noticed a skinny, white body reclining in the front row, her hands placed strategically on the armrests like Gollum on a fabric throne, with her popcorn box resting solidly between her thighs. Ruby, I hissed, why are you naked? I was too hot, she whispered back, and then took a loud sip of her soda. Mom, I can't hear, please be quiet. You must have clothes on, Ruby, we are in public. I scrambled to find her wadded up pants 3 seats down. I slipped them on with the stealth of a Navy SEAL, if a Navy SEAL suddenly found himself in a theater with a nudist, and then realized they were inside out and backward. Okay, was all she said, pulling her t-shirt on without breaking her focus on Miss Piggy. The t-shirt was also inside out and backward, but I didn't care. She leaned over. Can I have more popcorn, Mom, please? See, I said please. Yes, I needed something stronger than the diet lemonade in my cup. We are lying in bed, the glow of her salt rock lamp throwing shadows on the wall. What was the best part of your day? I asked. Today, Gavin called me a chicken nugget, and then Mohammed told Gavin that I should kick him if he called me that again, but I would never kick Gavin because he is my second best friend. Good, we don't kick people. Your second best friend? Yes, she replies. I have lots of friends. Mom, what if fall and summer were mixed up? The leaves would fall and then the sun would shine. The leaves would fall and then the sun would shine, and you'd jump in the leaves and wear your sunglasses. I replied, that would be pretty crazy. So crazy, Mom. What's in the moon? There are holes on the moon. Why? I scrambled to think, it's made of rocks. Maybe rocks from outer space hit it. But that would break it, she counters. Can I have water, please? I'm not scared of anything. I can get it by myself. I will sleep after I get a drink of water. Back in bed, she nestles under the covers. Time for sleep. No more talking now, I say. Can I sneeze? She asks. Can I yawn? Can I yawn or sneeze? I'll hum because I like it. She starts a wordless tune that I've never heard. Shh, I say. I'll hum under the blankets, she offers. Muffled humming rumbles under the blankets. Can you hear that? Shh, I say. Mom, can you make me a dress like Rapunzel's when I grow my hair long? Yes, I say. And soon it's quiet. I see her lashes, long and thick like her brother's, and not like mine. Her hair, sweet from the strawberry kiwi body wash, lies in short but silky piles. I run my fingers over her head. Her breathing has deepened, her chest rising and falling in steady rhythm. I watch her sleep just as I watch her in waking hours. I do not own this gem, this child who draws smiley faces on her arms with magic marker, who sneaks eyeshadow and lipstick onto her face with Lady Gaga flair, and who makes rocks and cups and carrots talk to each other with telenovela drama. She is only mine for a time to examine and hold, but for now, that is enough. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm the last poet, so I've only got one poem. If your patience is running thin, I hope this is interesting enough. Anyway, it's called Youth. Years ago, a war was waged. The victim I, the enemy age. When God's quill dripped its ambrosial ink while tracing breath, in the omnity they were conceived, pieces of eternity. They handed ballpoints full of just a finite supply of that celestial dye, restrained by nothing but the boundless expanse of a midsummer sky, passing away into autumn nights right before watching its reflection ripple into the cosmos of each and every one of their minds. And from those primordial black pools the authors rose and inhaled deeply the scent of sex and democracy, clad in Converse laced like Sunday mornings. They wore hand-me-downs like they were handed down from kings. Hands down, they were mighty, the Corinthians of concrete, bumping bass at the reaper's feet and digging graves like the back seat where they passed secrets like joints and blew smoke into the sails of tomorrow. That was back when tomorrow was guaranteed. And the years were still young and crawling by on their knees, carrying pages folded in paper mache into nostalgic landscapes, blank until they ran across, leaving trails of gracefully bolded sentences. Through make-believe, we were astronauts. Take off for swooshes in backyard basketball, as smooth as hot chocolate on the first snow day, that tasted like fireworks exploding into pure awe, right before disappearing into clumsy first kisses, turned nervous first lovers, breathing into one another, and waking up at stoned music festivals where beautiful vibrations just swallowed the world. They roamed the streets that they thought they ruled, and practiced the best of bad habits, like smoking cigarettes and falling in love, hurtling heart-shaped hand grenades at one another until cellophane blood ran down ripened cheeks and black and blue necks to fall into vain little pools on the ground at their knees, into which they dipped their fingers and traced prayers, ever quickly evaporating into who the fuck knows. Then the authors rose and breathed, for the first time realizing it can have wings. They signed their names like cigarettes and dotted the I's with ashes and wandered on into eternity, wondering if it ever happened. Thanks.
Well, I'd like to thank all of our readers. What a lot of